I married Lu Ming's for 7 years, but he brought his mistress home and even kicked me out, letting her pet dog sleep in my room. What he didn't know was that he was going to die. I hid his cancer diagnosis report, fearing he would divorce me and leave all his assets to the mistress before his death. I played the role of the pitiful wife, shedding tears to inherit his entire estate. But I never expected that he would still haunt me after his death. I smiled. If that's how he wants to play, I'll show him something good. As soon as I opened the door, a bucket of scalding hot water was thrown at me. Qin Manmin sneered and called me a leech, impossible to get rid of. My husband, Lu Ming's, said there was nothing he could do, women like me just couldn't live without a man. My chest burned painfully, the wet dress clinging to my scalded skin, each step agonizing. But I endured it, neither crying nor making a scene, and walked inside with my head down. Lu Ming's beckoned me over, like calling a dog. "Come here, wash my feet." He pointed to the floor. "Kneel and wash." Lu Ming's humiliated me because I refused to divorce him. He and his mistress tortured me, hoping I'd let go willingly. But how could I? Every time I thought of Lu Ming's new medical report, it was as if I saw his vast wealth beckoning to me. I walked up to him. Lu Ming's lifted his foot, splashing wash water onto my face. "Qiao Shuyao, I thought you just got home, so I helped you wash your face." He laughed. "No need to thank me. How does it taste?" I quietly wiped the dirty water from my face. He asked me how it tasted. I was the one who wanted to ask Lu Ming's how he felt, almost dying. I couldn't wait. The doctor said Lu Ming's had late-stage kidney cancer and wouldn't last more than a month, no cure. I was overjoyed but had to pretend to be deeply in love, not letting Lu Ming sense anything unusual or discover his terminal illness. Otherwise, he might transfer his assets, and I wouldn't benefit from his death. For the sake of a huge inheritance, I would act until he took his last breath, then tell him the truth. Imagine how thrilling that would be. Back in the room, I held the cancer report, troubled. What if Lu Ming's asked about the physical examination results? Not showing him might arouse suspicion. Just then, Lu Ming's kicked open the door, glancing at me. "Qiao Shuyao, you have half an hour to pack up and get out of the room." I hid the report under the blanket, my fingers slightly sweating. I pretended to be upset. "You want me to give up the room again?" Qin Manmin came in holding her pet dog, looking down on me. "Do you think I care about this room? Sister, I've already slept here with Ming's." She giggled, her face flushed. "I just feel bad for my little Bao, growing up and sleeping outside in the yard, it's so pitiful. Can you make some space?" Little Bao was Qin Manmin's Pekingese dog. The dog in her arms, emboldened by its owner, barked at me twice. "You want my room for the dog?" I felt a surge of anger. Lu Ming's mocked me. "Yes, you're only fit for the dog. If you're worried about not having a place to sleep tonight, you can sleep in the doghouse, it's the same." I was reluctant. The Pekingese in Qin Manmin's arms wriggled, seeming uncomfortable. She laughed and let it go. The dog jumped onto my bed. It lifted its leg and peed. Under my furious gaze, Qin Manmin asked, "Oh dear sister, what should we do? Can you still sleep here now?" Lu Ming's chuckled. "Good job! Serves you right for not leaving. Oh, by the way, give me the physical examination report before you go." Lu Ming's finally remembered. Feigning panic, I lifted the blanket, pointing to the report by the dog's leg. I screamed. "Ming's, what should we do? The report got peed on by the dog, you better take a look." Saying that, I put on gloves, grabbed the wet report, and waved it in Lu Ming's face. Lu Ming's backed away in horror, shouting, "Qiao Shuyao, don't come near me." I put on an innocent expression, advancing step by step. "Honey, why? Don't you want to see the report? Here, take a look." I slapped the report on Lu Ming's face. He squatted down. The report missed, floating down and sticking to Qin Manmin's foot. Kin Manman screamed, stomping her foot and retching in disgust. The writing on the report was blurred from the wetness, making Lu Ming's nauseous. Forget it, I don't want to see it. He grabbed Kin Manman and left. Qiao Shuyao, clean up the room, little Bao needs to stay here. Lu Ming's ordered me again. The little Pekingese circled me, barking furiously. I watched Lu Ming's back, gradually straightening my humble bent waist. Turning around, I shot a sharp glance at the dog by my feet. Little thing, let's see how long you can keep this up. The Pekingese froze, yelping and cowering in the corner. After that, I laid a mattress in the utility room. Lu Ming's bought a new bed. Kin Manman loudly said for me to hear. Ming's, is the bed sturdy? Don't let it collapse like last time, right in the middle of our fun, such a buzzkill. Lu Ming's assured. No problem, this bed is big and sturdy. Watch me move it in, we can do whatever we want. Before he finished moving the bed, Lu Ming's grabbed his waist with a groan, wincing in pain. Why does my back always hurt lately? I held the bedsheets I had prepared for his new bed, silently passing by. Late-stage kidney cancer. How could your back not hurt? Kin Manman suggested. Ming's, maybe you should go to the hospital for a checkup. Lu Ming seemed tempted. I quickly intervened. Ming's, I told you to take it easy. I glared at Kin Manman. Now you're drained by that vixen, your kidneys can't handle it. Your back hurts. Go to the hospital if you must, don't be afraid of people knowing. I shouted. Hearing the commotion, some dog-walking neighbors stopped. They were all gossipy old ladies. Peering through the window, pointing and saying, Did you hear that? This guy can't. Lu Ming's face turned red, and he quickly pulled the curtains, yelling at me. Qiao Shuyao, shut up. I'm not sick, I'm fine, I'm not going to the hospital. I nodded submissively. In reality, I could barely suppress my smile. Lu Ming's, I knew you cared about your reputation. If you went to the hospital and the truth came out, you'd be too ashamed. Lu Ming's caressed Kin Manman's face, intoxicated. Manman, it's all your fault for being too tempting, making me strain my back. He found an excuse for his back pain himself. A few days later, unable to bear the neighbors' strange looks, Lu Ming's decided to go on a trip to clear his mind. A plane ticket was thrown in my face. Qiao Shuyao, Manman and I need someone to carry our luggage on the trip. Lu Ming's was pressuring me again. If you can't take it, then divorce me. Or if you don't come, Manman and I will leave together. After 2 years of separation, the court will grant us a divorce. I quickly said. Honey, please take me with you. My husband's time was running out, and I had to stay by his side. To be the first to inherit his estate, and to smile while counting the money in front of his ashes. Afterward, I flew to the hot mountain city. Lu Ming sipped a cold drink, strolling through the streets while I was loaded with their bags, sweating profusely. Someone even mistook me for being single and offered to help with my bags and buy me tea. Lu Ming's rushed over and chased the person away. Qiao Shuyao, you've got some nerve, learning to flirt with others. I skillfully lowered my head in silence. Playing the coward was the easiest. Kin Manman massaged Lu Ming's chest, comforting him. Don't be mad. It's just that sister is too pretty, and she's been thirsty after following us for so long, she probably just wanted to flirt with someone to get a drink. Kin Manman bought an ice cream cone and handed it to me. Here, sister, this is on me. My hands were numb from the weight of the bags, unable to lift them. Kin Manman raised the ice cream cone. Open your mouth, I'll feed you. She sweetly smiled and then kicked my calf hard. I lurched forward, the ice cream smearing all over my face. I fell to the ground. My face, covered in ice cream, was now dirty, sticky, and disgusting. Kin Manman laughed mockingly. Sister, how does it feel? Are you still pretty now? I didn't respond, using all my strength to stand up. But my knees burned with pain, scraped and bleeding. I struggled but fell again. Lu Ming snorted. Qiao Shuyao, this is your punishment. Looking this pathetic, who would you flirt with? Get up and get to work, stop pretending to be pitiful. I lifted my clown-like face, looking at him. Lu Ming's was stunned, then burst into laughter. Look at you, you're hilarious. Lu Ming's must have found it very funny. He laughed so hard he started coughing. Coughing, he spat out a mouthful of blood into his iced lemonade. In an instant, the water looked like a blooming red flower. Beautiful. I admired it, taking out my phone to contact the bodyguards I had arranged. I said, "Start the operation." I took Lu Ming's to the hospital, and he soon fell into a coma. Qin Manmin caused a scene. What's wrong with Ming's? Qiao Shuyao, how dare you not let me see him? I had the bodyguards throw her out. Qin Manmin kicked in the air, her high-heeled shoe flying off, aiming straight at my face. I sidestepped it. Qin Manmin spat. Lucky for you. But don't think you can separate me and Ming's, I won't leave. As long as Ming's is here, what can you do to me? I sneered. I'll deal with you later. I entered Lu Ming's hospital room. For days, I watched over him. The doctors said he was weak, definitely going to die, but he just wouldn't die quickly, clinging to life. It really worried me. One day, he actually woke up, pale and weak. Where's Manmin? My Manmin. Don't look for her. I had the bodyguards throw her out. I said, Lu Ming's, until you die, I won't let you see her again. That woman was too much of a nuisance. I said, enough about her, Lu Ming's, I have good news for you. Lu Ming's, irritated, asked, what? You're going to die. I grinned. You're lying. Lu Ming's looked at me in disbelief, spitting blood in anger. Qiao Shuyao, you're cursing me to die? You should die, you'll never die a good death. I took out the cancer diagnosis report and slapped it onto his face. Look, who's not going to die a good death? Lu Ming's reached for the report. But when he found his fingers uncontrollably trembling, unable to hold a thin sheet of paper, he panicked. The heart monitor beeped rapidly. It was like the last accelerated heartbeat before death. Oh dear, how pitiful. I kindly picked up the report, spreading it wide in front of his face. Honey, surprised. This is your cancer report. Lu Ming's gasped angrily, exhaling more than inhaling. He glared at me, unwilling to die. But what good would it do? I continued. This report is a copy I asked the doctor to make, just to show you the truth when you're on your deathbed. I confessed. If it weren't for your entire estate, I would have divorced you long ago. Who could bear you, you trash? Lu Ming's gaze was murderous. In a fit of rage, his fist trembled. Weak and pathetic. He could only let me continue. Honey, don't be so fierce. I was so scared before, afraid that you'd die, and before you die, you might transfer all your money to your mistress. So I stayed with you, watched you closely, and endured the disgust. Lu Ming's opened his mouth to curse, but only wheezing sounds came out. He watched my smile grow larger. All right, honey, after all these years, I have one sincere thing to say to you. Lu Ming's was confused, a glimmer of expectation in his eyes. I leaned close to his ear and said, Honey, I've been waiting to inherit your estate today, so die quickly. The heart monitor exploded with a sharp beep. A straight line appeared on the screen. Honey kicked his legs and died. Obediently. Except his eyes wouldn't close, as if he wanted revenge even in death. I found it amusing. Who's afraid of you? While you were alive, I could play you to death. Now that you're dead, I'll make sure your soul is scattered. Just as I finished speaking, Lu Ming's low growl echoed. Qiao Shuyao. I looked up in surprise, seeing another Lu Ming standing beside me, but transparent. I rubbed my eyes. Am I too tired seeing things? I moved to the window to catch my breath. He raged. Kiao Shuyao, don't ignore me. Are you scared thinking I'm real? I'll prove it to you. Lu Ming's walked through the wall. In seconds, he returned, saying, Listen, 2 nurses are coming in, one fat, one thin. The thin one has a red mole on her forehead. I glanced at the doorway. 2 nurses, just as Lu Ming's described. Next, as I walked out, his spirit could always predict who I'd encounter around the next corner. Lu Ming's boasted. Do you believe me now? Kiao Shuyao, even in death, I won't let you go. Are you scared? My shoulders trembled. I was trembling with excitement. Wonderful! I had regretted that my husband died without seeing how I spent his money and dealt with his mistress. Now, everything was perfect. A few days later, I cremated Lu Ming's. His ashes were before me. I took out a sack of bright red banknotes freshly withdrawn from the bank as inheritance. I smiled as I counted the money. Thank you, honey. You probably can't even remember how much you left me. Here, I'll count it for you, one by one. Kiao Shuyao, don't go too far. Lu Ming's floated beside his ashes, impotently raging. What do you mean, too far? I'm sincerely thanking you, honey. I always thought, if you could see me counting your inheritance after you died, wouldn't that be thrilling? Now I watched him almost die again from the shock. Gritting his teeth, glaring at me helplessly. Thank you, honey, for fulfilling my dreams. Lu Ming's couldn't bear it anymore and swung a slap at me. The slap went straight through my face harmlessly. Lu Ming's yelled at the sky in frustration. If he weren't already dead, he might have died from anger a second time. He spat venomously. Kiao Shuyao, you're a vile woman. Manman is still the best. My hand paused in counting the money. Lu Ming's got excited. What? Are you hurt? You're not even worth a strand of Manman's hair. I looked up at the sky and remembered. That's right, Kin Manman. I said I'd deal with her later, made an appointment. I packed Lu Ming's ashes and went to see Kin Manman. Kiao Shuyao, who wants to see you? Where's Ming's? Did you lock him up? I'm calling the police. Kin Manman started yelling as soon as she saw me, her Pekingese barking along. I said, Don't rush. I handed over the urn. Ming's is right here. Kin Manman was stunned. Her hands trembled as she grabbed the urn, her fingers turning white from the strain. She asked shakily, You're saying Ming's, he's in here, he is dead? I nodded. Lu Ming's was touched. Manman still cares about me. Look how shocked she is, she must be so heartbroken. Pa! Kin Manman threw the urn to the ground. Liar! How could Lu Ming's just die like that? Ashes scattered everywhere. Lu Ming's was dumbfounded. At that moment, Kin Manman's brother, Kin Feng, rushed over, shouting, Yeah! You think you can fool us with some powder in a box? He bent down, dipped his finger in the ashes, and brought it to his mouth to taste. Yep, it's flour. This must be flour. Kin Feng declared confidently. The Pekingese also licked a few tastes, enjoying it more and more. Lu Ming's spirit seemed to crack. He murmured, Impossible. Why is this happening? This must be a nightmare. The nightmare wasn't over. Kiao Shuyao, stop your tricks and get out. Kin Manman kicked the urn, sending it flying into the street. The urn rolled and was crushed by a passing car. Kin Manman picked up a broom and started sweeping the ashes. Really, dirtying the floor. The ashes were swept out the door, carried away by the wind. Scattered east and west. The Pekingese eagerly chased after them. Watching the entire scene, I couldn't help but clap. Well done! If anyone knows how to be ruthless, it's you, Kin Manman. I whispered to Lu Ming's. How does it feel to have your ashes scattered by your beloved? Dying without a whole body. This is what you asked for. You wanted to see her. Lu Ming's shook his head, too shocked to speak. I didn't tease him further and waved for the bodyguards. Hold them both down. Desecrating remains is a crime, send them to the police station. At the police station, I presented the evidence and the last bit of Lu Ming's ashes. The police handed over the test report to Qin Feng, solemnly saying, It's true, you ate human ashes. Qin Feng opened his mouth and vomited, collapsing to the ground, retching bile. Qin Manman begged for my forgiveness. I'm sorry, I didn't know Ming's was in the box. If I had known, I wouldn't have let the dog eat him. Qin Manman was so flustered she was incoherent. If I didn't forgive them, their sentence would be heavier. Lu Ming's heart ached. Let it go, Manman didn't mean it. Look how pitiful she is, crying. Really? I shrugged. But when she knocked over your ashes and let the dog eat them, she thought you were the pitiful one. Lu Ming's was furious. Qiao Shuyao, don't bring that up. Can't you be kinder? Be more like Manman, love me more. Qin Manman suddenly burst into tears, grabbing my pant leg. Sister, I never loved Lu Ming's. I only loved his money. Now that he's dead, I won't fight with you anymore, please let me go. While Qin Manman sobbed, Lu Ming's soul seemed to shatter again. He stared wide-eyed, questioning. Manman, what are you saying? You clearly said you loved me for who I am. That I was charming. Lu Ming's was desperate. He raged, but Qin Manman couldn't see him. Unable to see him, she continued attacking. Sister, to be honest, there's nothing charming about Lu Ming's. Really? He's arrogant, has a bad temper, just because he had some money. I tolerated him. Lu Ming's was berated viciously. He shouted for her to stop, wanting to escape, but Qin Manman's criticisms kept coming. So, like you, sister, I was just a poor soul struggling under Lu Ming's claws. I said. Qin Manman, do you think a few sweet words will make me forget how you tormented me and let you go? What does sister want? I pointed to my chest. I'm feeling suffocated with anger here. Can you help me vent it out? Qin Manman banged her head on the floor repeatedly. As she knocked her head, she said, I'll help you vent your anger, sister. She then slapped herself a few times, looking at me expectantly. I shook my head. Not enough. If this is all your sincerity, you might as well go back to jail. Qin Manman went crazy, swinging her arms wildly, slapping herself with both hands. The slaps echoed loudly like firecrackers, making the police station as lively as New Year's. Her little face became swollen and bloody. Sister, is this enough? Qin Manman smiled ingratiatingly, her face looking like a steamed bun, but her eyes couldn't hide their malice. I smiled and said, Enough. Now you can go to court with that face and face your judgment. I turned elegantly on my high heels. Qin Manman screamed bitterly. Qiao Shuyao, you tricked me. You leave me no way out. I won't let you have it easy either. Lu Ming's couldn't bear it anymore. Qiao Shuyao, you're really ruthless. The young girl didn't know better. I retorted to Lu Ming's. Honey, you're strange, feeling sorry for someone who was insincere to you. But I supported you sincerely for so many years. When you mistreated me, why didn't you feel a bit of pity? Lu Ming's was taken aback. For a moment, he had no words to refute. After a long pause, he squeezed out 3 words. Let's go home. I felt a bit dazed. It had been years since I heard those words. In the first 2 years of our marriage, whenever he made me angry and didn't want to argue, he would hug me and say, Let's go home. I walked back home, ending up in the underground garage. It was filled with Lu Ming's beloved sports cars, all kinds. Like his former women, dazzling. We strolled among the cars. Shuyao, I can't drive these cars anymore. They're all yours now. You can drive a different one every day and never get bored. Lu Ming's tone had softened. Maybe seeing Qin Manman's true face and being touched by my words had an effect on him. But I picked up my phone. Hello. Car dealership? I have a batch of second-hand cars to sell. Grateful for the wealth my husband brought. Lu Ming's jumped up anxiously. Qiao Shuyao, what do you mean? This was a little something I left for you. You don't want it? I calmly negotiated a price with the dealer. Lu Ming's cursed loudly. A wave of wealth was flowing towards me. All right, it's settled. I hung up the phone and coldly said to Lu Ming's. I don't like these cars. I know, you just want to oppose me. Lu Ming's glared at me with disgust. I chuckled. Oppose? Maybe. You disgust me. Seeing these cars reminds me of the many women they carried. They constantly remind me how filthy you are. I stepped closer. Have you forgotten how we struggled, crammed in a basement, eating pickled vegetables and buns? You said when we had money, you'd treat me well. Did you? Lu Ming's turned away, feeling guilty. He stammered. Of course, I haven't forgotten. I didn't forget. I remember. I can remember. Recalling, reminiscing about the good old days. Lu Ming suddenly had an idea. Shuyao, you're angry and you hate me. But we were so good together before. There's love, that's why there's hate. You must still love me, right? I didn't answer, letting him guess. Lu Ming's was tormented. I first arranged his funeral. It was simple, with few attendees who left after exchanging a few words. Lu Ming's was ostentatious in life. In death, we couldn't bear it. In the end, I was alone. I buried the new urn beside Lu Ming's parents. I said, I'm sorry. I had once promised in front of this grave to take good care of Ming's. Now, the urn contained a thin layer. It was hard to tell if it was ash or mud, maybe even mixed with some saliva. But it's all right, your son wronged me too. I smiled. Once, Lu Ming's held me here, vowing to be good to me for life, never leaving me. We both broke our promises. I wiped away the fallen tears. Lu Ming's tentatively said, Shuyao, no one's here to see. If you're not sad, there's no need to fake cry. I sighed. Lu Ming's, I'm not you. For so many years, I had true feelings. A glimmer of joy appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. I knew it. Shuyao, you still love me. If you didn't, why would you cry for me? He couldn't contain his excitement. Shuyao, I've thought a lot these days, and I've figured it out. I have feelings for you, and only you can see me. From now on, I'll stay with you. We'll live well together. There's still hope, right? I slightly curled my lips. Hope, of course, is necessary. Hope destroyed is the true despair. Lu Ming's, I told you. Even if you die, I'll make sure your soul is shattered. After that, Lu Ming's tried to please me. He accompanied me to work in the morning, not bothering me all day. After work, he'd say, Honey, you've worked hard. Showing care. I couldn't be bothered with him. After Lu Ming's death, I took over the company. The old employees privately said, It's good to have you back. You're much more reliable than President Lu. Great, you all praised me before, but deep down you thought I was less capable than Shuyao. Lu Ming sulked in the corner. I was at my desk handling documents. Most of the company's foundation was built by me. It was foolish of me to return to family life and give up my shares. This time, I held money and power firmly in my hands, dedicating myself entirely to my career. Lu Ming's advised me to stop overworking. Shuyao, after all, you're a woman. Your stamina has limits. Listen, the company is fine as it is. Working yourself to death won't help. Until the company, under my leadership, doubled in size in less than 6 months. Lu Mings was stunned for days. The old employees celebrated. It's good we're under President Kiao. If President Lu were still here, we might not see this day until we retired or died of old age. People were all talking about President Lu. It's good that he died. Amidst the chorus of good riddance, Lu Mings looked pained and said, "Shu Yao, congratulations. But no matter how successful your career is, you still need someone at home to care for you. You need me, someone to rely on." I felt nauseous and quickly grabbed my bag, walking out of the office towards a dinner party. As soon as I reached the private room, my best friend, who had been waiting, looked at me with concern. "Yao Yao, you've lost so much weight." But I smiled warmly. "I actually feel much better than before. Let's go in." My friend, however, held me back, looking troubled. "Yao Yao, today's dinner isn't just a dinner party." She came straight out with it. She was here to introduce me to an eligible young man. Lu Mings is dead. You shouldn't be stuck on a scumbag for the rest of your life. But since you were so devoted before, refusing to leave him, I was afraid to tell you directly about the introduction, thinking you'd reject it. Now it was a bit of a fait accompli. My friend rubbed her hands nervously, not daring to look at me. Lu Mings was furious. "You don't need to introduce anyone. I'm still here. My wife has me, she doesn't need another man." But I warmly took my friend's hand and smiled. "Thank you for the introduction. This was also my husband's last wish. Before he died, he hoped I'd find a good family." Lu Mings's jaw dropped, his face twisted in horror. "I didn't. I never said that. Kiao Shu Yao, you're lying. Don't you want me anymore?" He screamed. Did that dog Lu Mings actually have a conscience at the end? My friend was overjoyed. "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in." Lu Mings, like a pitiful stray dog, wagged his tail imploringly. "Shu Yao, I know you're angry, you're just saying this out of anger. Don't go in, wait until you've calmed down." I stepped straight through the door. The man my friend introduced was named Shen Nangsing, a sunny and handsome man with elegant manners. He spoke to me gently, always knowing how to make me laugh. Lu Mings was sour about it. Pretty boy. He probably failed in business and came to cling to a rich woman. "Shu Yao, don't be too happy too soon." I ignored him. Lu Mings grew more anxious, and the more anxious he got, the more sour his comments became. "A poor boy inviting you to his house? Hilarious, don't go. It must be a little broken house, not even as big as our bathroom. What's there to show off?" At that moment, Shen Nangsing looked up and glanced subtly in Lu Mings's direction. His words were pointed. "Well, my house isn't anything special either, not much to show off. Just a manor that takes up 2 streets, as big as dozens of football fields, can't even walk through it in a day, so tiring." Lu Mings was instantly choked, his face turning pale. Seeing Shen Nangsing open his phone to show me the beautiful scenery of the manor, Lu Mings felt a life-threatening crisis and shouted out. "Don't look! It's all fake, photoshopped." But Shen Nangsing seemed to be doing everything to spite Lu Mings, continuing. "Whether it's fake or not, you'll know when you visit. You can swim, play tennis, or ride a horse and gallop for hours without any problem." I couldn't help but marvel. This place is huge. It was truly super luxurious. Lu Mings came to spoil the mood again. "Kiao Shu Yao, don't be foolish. Think about it, you're divorced. Why would a super rich second generation fall for you? Isn't it just because you're pretty? He's just playing with you." I frowned, displeased. But Shen Nangsing spoke first. "Miss Kiao, please believe that I'm serious. I'm not like some scum who was promiscuous, playing with countless women, and would meet a bad end." Lu Mings felt deeply insulted. He grew suspicious. Can this guy see me too? Every word is aimed at me. Shen Nangxing turned and chatted with me, laughing together, treating Lu Ming's like air. The atmosphere was perfect. Then my phone rang. I answered and a sharp scream came through the receiver. Qiao Shuyao, are you trying to drive me to death? Oh, it was Qin Manman. She wasn't doing well. Last time, her brother took the fall for her for the crime of desecrating a corpse and ended up in jail. But I wasn't done with her. I had my lawyer sue Qin Manman to reclaim the gifts Lu Ming's had given her, which were part of our marital assets. I didn't leave her a single penny. Qin Manman was almost hysterical. I moved, changed my name, hid in the mountains, but it's all useless, I'm living like a rat. I laughed. Keep talking, I love hearing this. Qin Manman screamed in frustration. At first, she tried to hide and avoid paying, but I tracked down every penny owed. Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed the process. No rush, take it slow. It was like pressing her to the ground, peeling her layer by layer. Qin Manman, hold on, I'm not done playing yet. I teased. The phone went silent for a few seconds, only heavy breathing could be heard. Qin Manman finally gritted out. Qiao Shuyao, don't be smug. At worst, we'll go down together. The call ended. Qin Manman's screams were loud enough for everyone around to hear. Shen Nangxing frowned and asked, do you need my help? With the Shen family's influence, dealing with Qin Manman would be easier than squashing an ant. I said no. My prey, I must hunt it myself for the most satisfying thrill. After speaking, I watched Shen Nangxing's expression. Lu Ming's called me ruthless. I was decisive, seeking revenge for any wrongs, wasn't that how it should be? But Shen Nangxing's eyes were full of admiration. He said, all right, I trust you. I gave him a confident smile. A few days later, someone started throwing paint, unknown animal blood, and foul-smelling garbage at my door. Threatening messages were sprayed on the walls, and the locks had been tampered with. Lu Ming's was more worried than I was. Shuyao, what do we do? If Qin Manman hires a gang to break in at night, even bodyguards might not be enough. I jokingly said, don't worry, I have you, honey. You'll protect me. Lu Ming's took it seriously. He stood guard until late at night. The lock clicked, and a shadow raised a bucket to throw. Like a brave husband, he rushed out. Then there was a scream outside, exceptionally shrill. Lu Ming's was drenched in black dog blood. A full bucket of it. The black dog's blood sizzled on him, like a piece of meat on a grill. This stuff had a special effect on him. Amidst the chaos, by the time I called the bodyguards to capture everyone, Lu Ming's was slumped against the blood-stained wall, unable to get up. He pitifully reached out to me. Shuyao, I feel terrible, it's so hot. I raised an eyebrow. Oh honey, you're so useless. I stepped right over Lu Ming's. Behind me, he lamented. Shuyao, you're still angry. It's okay, I'll let you vent it out. Lu Ming's spirit had faded significantly. Still have the strength to talk. I marveled. This soul really can take a beating. What would it take to make him suffer to the point of complete disintegration? Later, at the police station, the captured group immediately confessed that Qin Manman had paid them. When the police went to arrest her, Qin Manman had vanished, abandoning her house and disappearing from the world. The police registered her as fugitive. With no one left to interfere, I auctioned off her house through the court. Qin Manman, now you're homeless. Everything belonging to Qin Manman was thrown out by the new owners. Even her constantly yapping Pekinjis was unwanted, now a stray. Just like its owner. More than half a year passed, and I almost forgot about the whole affair. The company was stable, and I occasionally went on dates or traveled around to relax. One day, hearing that the tulips in the park were blooming beautifully, I decided to go take some pictures. The crowd was bustling, and the sea of flowers swayed. Suddenly, a disheveled woman looking like a beggar rushed towards me. Kiao Shuyao, go to hell. It was Qin Manman. She was holding a basin with what looked like a mixture of blood and meat, ready to throw it at me. I dodged, but my clothes and shoes still got splashed, filling the air with a pungent stench. The crowd screamed. 7 or 8 large fierce dogs charged at me, their growls deafening. They were all attracted by the blood and meat. Qin Manman laughed maniacally. Kiao Shuyao, stabbing you to death is too easy. You dare to torment me? I'll have you torn apart by dogs, bit by bit. The fierce dogs leapt towards me, their shadows falling over me. Lu Ming screamed. No! Shuyao! In the next second, the shadow enveloped him, and Lu Ming's rolled on the ground. The black dogs surrounded him, biting. The bodyguards and I exchanged glances. To others, it looked like the dogs were biting air. But I saw that as soon as the black dogs saw Lu Ming's, their eyes lit up as if they had found a rare delicacy. The fierce dogs tore at him. Lu Ming's soul was being shredded. Bits and pieces were left in the dogs' mouths, like withered petals scattered on the ground. It was pitiful. I wanted to laugh but couldn't hold it in. Seeing my laughter, Lu Ming's expression grew even more desperate. Shuyao, don't you feel any pity? Don't you care about me at all? Is your heart made of stone? Lu Ming's called out to me, enduring the pain. I waved to the bodyguards to take Qin Manman to the police station. That matter was more urgent. My actions had already answered Lu Ming's. Afterwards, his figure faded so much it was almost invisible, like he could disappear at any moment. But he held on to one last hope. Shuyao, you haven't remarried anyone else, which means you still think about me a little, right? I'm still your husband. Hope soon turned to despair. Shen Nangsing proposed to me. Is this for real? I stood in the garden, a bit surprised. I thought it would be like usual, Shen Nangsing coming to chat, then becoming intimate. But he took out a diamond ring. I thought for a moment. Nangsing, are you sure? With your conditions you could find someone young and beautiful who hasn't been divorced. In my eyes, no one compares to you. Shen Nangsing stopped me from continuing, speaking gently. I admit you amazed me at first sight. But it's your perseverance, your vision, and other qualities that attracted me more. He took my hand and kissed it. You're not a vase needing protection, you can stand on your own. I'm the one asking you to walk with me for the rest of my life. I looked at the diamond ring shining in the sunlight. I smiled. Smiling, my eyes became misty with tears. I felt respected. I was silent for a long time, making Shen Nangsing uneasy. Yao Yao, you see, I'm not perfect either. I could see some dirty things as a child and was called strange. Don't dislike me if you hear about it. I comforted him. All right, I know. Let's make 2 imperfect people perfect together. I accepted the ring. Let's go. How about we go on an early honeymoon to celebrate this day? Let's travel for a month or 2. Whatever you say. Shen Nangsing, afraid I'd change my mind, embraced me tightly. Lu Ming's let out a dying wail. Shuyao, don't go with him. I feel like I'm really about to disappear. Just this last day, please stay with me. Amidst his desperate pleas, Shen Nangsing and I packed our bags. We got into the car. Lu Ming's weakly crawled out the door. Shuyao, please don't go. In the rearview mirror, he struggled to reach out to me. Watching me get further and further away. I leaned on Shen Nangsing's shoulder. Oh, I'm so happy. We left in such a hurry, I didn't even think about where to go. Anywhere with you is perfect. Shen Nangsing kissed my cheek. Lu Ming's eyes went dark. In his despair, his figure dissipated like ashes, finally watching me leave without looking back. And I looked towards the bright sun on the horizon. The road ahead was long. A glorious future awaited me.